Hi everyone and welcome to my place. Here at Astar's place, I'm into waste not, want not. And the reason I say that is because we have this beautiful planet, and if we can learn to recycle or upcycle or find another purpose for something, I think that that's a great idea. I'll show you the clip of the design I did not so long ago using the kale, and I used a few berries and I used some magnolia and some roses. Well, now I want to show you how to take the berries that are artificial, that are a great thing for me anyway because I can keep using them. But with the things like the kale, when they go off, or when I talk about going off, I mean this here, when they're starting to get a little bit yellow and they just sort of, well, they're not quite as pristine as what I wanted them to be. So what I've done is I've taken them out of the design, I've cut them really short, given them a really lovely new drink of water to sort of revive them, and then I'm just going around, and anything that I think is just a little bit yellow and not quite up to speed, just take those off and they can be recycled to be put into the next design I want you to show you. So I go from big and then I just cut them down and make it smaller. So I've got this lovely rustic terracotta paint finished trough that I'm going to use, and I've put into the base of that some fresh foam, which I've just put a little bit of granola or a little bit of bleach into just to keep the bacteria at bay. I've put a few baby tears onto the top of the foam, which is going to help keep the moisture in. And the great thing is that even though it's looking a bit dead on the top here, it's actually starting to take to root, so it's going to be a lovely environment for it to grow in. And then once all the flowers are dead, I can just leave it and it'll just like cover itself and keep on growing, which I think is just fantastic. So what I want to do is to show you how to do a long elongated arrangement using the flowers that just gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And I may have mentioned this on lots of occasions, in fact I have. The shorter the length of the stem of anything, the longer it will live for. So the first thing I want to do is to getting this magnolia here, I'm just going to slant cut that, and I'm just going to push that down and into my foam. And if you slant cut everything, it just makes it so much easier to get your forms into that foam. And also don't forget, we're trying to go through the roots of the little baby tears that are starting to take fruition. So I'm just going to just put 4 in at this. Oh no, actually I won't. I'm going to put another one in here. Let's put another one into the center here and push that right down into there. Now, getting my kale, I'm just going to push that down into there. Now, if you're having trouble getting it to go in and down into your foam, these snips are quite good things because you can just get in there, and I just use that as my little prod and just push into there to get that in. Now here's the other, see how they've all starting to go off like this? They are seriously unattractive, but it still is looking good. You know, when you look into there, I can see that beautiful little rose, so it's a nice form to still be using. Place that down and into the foam as far as you can down into there. Taking another one, I'm just going to cut that just a little bit shorter, take those leaves off. Of course I could have done that before we started. Just put that into there, as I said, and give it a wee twist around, and then just that will easily just go down into the design. I've got 2 more, taking those off again. And if you were looking to have something that was lovely and green and just, you know, there but not there, I always like, you know, green in any environment seems to be something that really enhances. It just gives a bit of harmony and into any environment, well, I think anyway. Pushing that down into there, taking that around, and I'm just going to push that out. So there I have these lovely little squishy, you know, the lovely little cabbagey forms, and with the lovely form of the magnolia. I've got a couple of succulents here, and what I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to push those down and into there, so that that's sort of like, I'm just going to let that just fall out of there. And the beauty with this type of succulent is it actually will continue to grow, which I think is quite lovely. I'll put another one, and of course in nature nothing sort of like grows straight, does it? So sometimes you just have to accommodate for that. So it wants to lean out. So when I place it into my design, I'm just going to place it so that it does sit. Whoa, that didn't even go in then. Hold on, let me just get that into there. It's going to fall, but that's okay. I'll just push that into there. And I've got big hands, and it's just a matter of, you just got to manipulate your hands to sort of get it into there. I've got one left, so I'm going to bring that round, and I'm going to put that down into there. Now, with my berries, what I'm now going to do with those is to just push those down into the foam, and because it's artificial I can manipulate and get that to the way that I want. And even though, oops, that's a little leaf, even though that is covering over the face of the succulent, it's still a lovely interplay of line and form together. So I've got one over there. I'm going to bring this one down and into here. But look how beautiful you can make a design look just by using the same colorway. So they call that a monochromatic harmony, which is shades, tones and tints of one color. So I've got a bit there, I've got a bit there, and I just feel that I would like to bring a piece into there. And look how far that berry covers in visual space. Love it. Now, I've got some over here. Hold on, I'll just clear up my bench so that we've got a bit of neatness happening here. Don't need any of those anymore, so they can just go down into there. Now, I've got some artificial lisianthus that I could use, or so if you don't have any fresh, you could use those. Now, these I've had for probably 3 weeks. I absolutely love them, and in a vase on their own, they're just the most wonderful flowers, and they remind me of little roses. Look at those dear little things there. Look at that there. It just looks like a little rose to me. So it starts off green, and you can see that they open up as they go. And then as they mature, they get to be this lovely big white ruffly form here. And there's another one I wanted to show you. Now, the reason I'm doing this, that's another good one. Now, from there, or hold on, from that flower there, I would say that that's probably got a day's life left in it. Now, this one here has probably got, not very, very long before it goes from that to this here, which is, and when you look underneath, you'll see that all of those little petals are starting to be transparent. I wouldn't use that because I know that that's not going to last very long at all. So these are the moments when you decide whether it's going to the compost. And don't forget, we do like to do composting. So with the little lisianthus, what I want to do with these is, I'm just going to cut that off like so, and I'm just going to bring those little buds in, and I've only got a few, so I'm going to have to just sort of like mind how I go with these. So I've got one there, and I'm just going to put one down in there. Just sort of evenly distribute them through your foam. This is when you've got to be really careful with these. Now, I always put these little fine forms in last because this is where I've got to have the care when I'm placing them. So if I was to have placed those in first and then put the berries in, that's when things get a bit more damaged. So it's easier to just quietly just mind how you go. We're just going to put that little one, tuck that down underneath into there, like so. That can just nestle down into there. And this one, I've got one over there, so I'll put one down and over there. And this one here can just, I'm going to put that one just into there so that it's sort of being supported by the little kale there. And with this here, I'll cut that a bit shorter, and I'll just put that in over into here, I think. So there and it's lovely having those white lisianthus in there because that's bringing the colour of the container up through into my design. So how's that for an easy to achieve design, reusing your flowers to create another beautiful arrangement to grace and just bring a bit of harmony to your home. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed sharing it with you, and I look forward to seeing you all again another day.